It is Qui-Gon Jinn Tuesday morning. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi. This morning, we're going to work with the latest iteration of very easy meditation. Inspired by the Ati Yoga teachings of Prahevajra. We're going to begin with the first phase of mindful crease counting. The luxury car of mindfulness and meditation traverses the smooth road afforded by Anu Yoga's energy work. There are many forms of energy work. I feel the most efficient is mudra, or finger gesture oriented energy work, which of course sounds deliciously salacious. So we're going to begin by gathering our first of 4 collections of our right hand's 8 repetitions and our left hand's 8 sets. Now, when I was in junior high, I first was introduced to the idea of bodybuilding and 3 sets of 10 reps. That was what I was first told. So we're going to play with 8 sets of 8 reps, which is really just 8 times 8, giving us 64. So on our our right thumb can advance over the course of 8 inhalations in the following manner: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And our left hand can multiply that by 8. 1 set of 8 reps, 2 sets of 8 reps, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sets of 8 reps, always beginning counting on our little fingers. But we're going for 4 collections of 8 repetitions, and I just realized I got the numbers wrong. Please accept my apology. That shouldn't be 8, that should be 12. So that's what I'm going to fix right now. And it's rather simple. It's just a question of adding another crease. So over the span of 12 inhalations, the right thumb would advance in the following manner: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And of course, we'd multiply it in the following manner on the left hand: 1, 2, 3 sets of 12 reps. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 sets of 12 reps. Excellent. As an extra added bonus, oh yes, I almost forgot. So how are we going to keep track of our first collection? By resting the great knuckle at the base of our right little finger upon the tip of our left little finger, palms up in our laps so our thumbs can count creases. Doing so invites our subtle energies to coalesce in the bladder region of our lower abdomen. Now, this is a lot of information. It's easy to feel overwhelmed. Take solace in the fact that repetition is the mother of skill. Come to these live streams once every 12 hours, and within a week or 2, you could master this entire cycle of techniques. So let's get down to it. What if enlightenment was simply mastery of the Buddha's Eightfold Path? What do we mean by mastery? No infant is born with a full working knowledge of how to defecate on a toilet, tie their shoes, or ride a bike, or brush their teeth. These are skills that have to be learned painstakingly, slowly, often with frustration and tears, but in time Every infant grows into a tween, goes into a toddler who can do all those things, who can ride their bike spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. That can be done with the Buddha's Eightfold Path. And one of the things I hope to accomplish this morning is to show you how this is doable, how simply by practicing the seventh fold's mindfulness and the eighth fold's meditation, all the remaining six folds of the Eightfold Path take care of themselves automatically. So let's dive right in. Let's explore the neuroscience of mindfulness and meditation after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that you would not have to. Welcome, my friends, to meditate like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. Sturgeon's Law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks. What could that look like? You and me and everybody else we've ever met has been raised in late-stage capitalism, where we are taught that it's a man's world and we've got to be rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. So much so that we would mock and denigrate the minority that strive to be flexible, loving, rational, laid-back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. But then, spoiler alert, it turns out that's what the Buddha was all about. And it was his foolish cousin Devadatta that was about being rigid and fearful and controlling. And so like a cat with its head stuck in an empty bag of Doritos, trying to back its way out, we find ourselves trying to escape the gravity well of being rigid and controlling. So we often decide, hey man, I want to be more peaceful and more loving. But the only advice we get are from people, or is from people, that's a tough conjugation, the only advice that's singular we get is from people who are rigid and controlling. And so, non-surprisingly, they implore us to actively focus and actively analyze. Spoiler alert, the only part of the brain that is capable of that type of behavior are the discrete neural pathways, such as those found in the medial prefrontal cortex or the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. Overtrain your prefrontal cortex, and you trigger our almond-shaped amygdala, the seat of anxiety and aggression, which is the opposite of the peace and the love that we want, which is darkly ironic. Fortunately, the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex are not the only components of our central nervous system. Consider mindfulness. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we are already wired to access our sympathetic nervous system found in the middle third of our spinal cord. This bad boy has evolved to help us to notice in a very specific way, to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly, which I'm sure you could agree is the opposite of the rigidity and self-protection of concentration. But what have we evolved to notice? We've evolved to notice mind's antics of perception. You know, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, and the like, such as emoting, intending, reasoning, recalling, and imagining. Now, that sounds like a tall order. Is there an easy way to do this? Is there a hook for us to hang our hat on? Yes. Silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during each inhalation, and you will find that our cerebral cortex is induced from opposing our sympathetic nervous system to cooperating with it, which is just fabulous. But what are we to do with all these things that we notice? That brings us to meditation. Every time, see, where's the cursor? Every time, let me hit this real quick. Okay. Every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we are already wired to automatically access the parasympathetic nervous system, divided between the lower third and the upper third of that same spinal cord. This parasympathetic nervous system has evolved to support both physical relaxation and mental release, to the point that what we perceived, oopsie, I'm having some trouble here, that what we perceived during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less solid, less permanent, and less defining, until the next inhalation. Now, is there an easy way to do all this? Yes. Silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during each exhalation, and our cerebral cortex will be induced to cooperate with our parasympathetic nervous system. So allow me to remind you of what you already know. It's not our job to invent a sympathetic nervous system. It's already there. It's not our job to invent a parasympathetic nervous system. It's already there. It's our job to help our cerebral cortex to stop fighting these bad boys and start cooperating these bad boys. And we do that through the simple use of these one-syllable words in harmony with our inhalation and our exhalation. Over the next 45 minutes, I would like to show you 4 distinct benefits of doing this. But right now, your brain is probably full, so let's get to it. We are taught by society, we are taught by Medicine Avenue that we simply must get what we want when we want for as long as we want it. Otherwise, we are failures. That's a wonderful recipe for being miserable. Consider this. Both the emotion of satisfaction and the emotion of frustration our emotions. An emotion is just an emotion. We can notice it as we breathe in. We can make peace with it as we breathe out. If we view an emotion as ultimate reality, then it's going to lead us by the nose. If we view an emotion as something just to notice and release, then it's going to have far less control over us. Welcome to this morning's live stream. We arrive at the second phase of mindful crease counting. Where we keep track of our second collection of our right hand's 12 repetitions when we're in our over the span of 12 inhalations, we advance our right thumb thusly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And where upon our left hand we multiply that by 12 for a total of 144. Where it's 1, 2, 3 sets of 12 repetitions. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 sets of 12 repetitions. But this is our second collection, so we keep track of that second collection by touching or resting the tip of our right ring finger upon the tip of our left ring finger. Let's try this again. Where we rest the great knuckle at the base of our right ring finger upon the tip of our left ring finger, palms up, interlap, so our thumbs can happily count creases. Doing so gently invites our subtle energies to coalesce in the navel region of our mid-abdomen. Now, this could sound like a lot of information. Allow me to remind you, repetition is the mother of skill. Come to these live streams once every 12 hours, and within a week or two, you can master this entire system. So let's see here. I'm going to do a quick edit. Please bear with me. Copy. Okay. And return. Whoops, wrong one. Here we go. Paste. So, as I mentioned previously, the seventh fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path mindfulness and the eighth fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path meditation are the keys that unlock the vault to whoops, I made a boo-boo. Please accept my apology. Let's just try this again. Let's go over here. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Let's review mindfulness and meditation. The easiest way to practice mindfulness is to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during each inhalation, thus causing us to notice all that comes up, be it a sight, a sound, a sensation, a flavor, a scent, an emotion, an intention, a thought, a memory, or an imagining, noticing all these things vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. The key to meditation is to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during each exhalation, causing us to release what we perceived during our previous inhalation, as if it was fleetingly less solid, less permanent, and less defining. And then during the next inhalation, the whole cycle begins again. So, let's bring this back to the idea of the Eightfold Path. As we sit in mindfulness, we cannot help but notice change. It's wired into us. It is a survival mechanism. It is through perceiving change that we're able to suss the approach of a predator. So we are wired to notice change. We're wired to notice that the environmental changes, because once again that increased the probability of our survival. We evolved to perceive the changing of the seasons and thus the impermanence of a year, the waxing and the waning of a moon, therefore the impermanence of a month, the rising and the setting of the sun, the impermanence of the day, and even now we can feel the swelling and sinking of a rib cage and experience the impermanence of a moment. Ever-changing, one and all, there is nothing permanent to grasp. This is not something we have to believe. This is not something we have to understand. This is something we are already wired to observe. And it is also the first of the eightfold path of enlightenment. So it's already baked into us. And it's revealed to us simply through practicing mindfulness and meditation. So let's practice our second set. Some people get very antsy and they're all, what about emptiness? Emptiness is just a metaphor. Allow me to illustrate. When it's raining, it feels like it will always rain. That we are relegated to an eternity of rain. But if we wait for enough hours or enough days, the rain stops. And the impermanence shows us that the idea of permanent rain, of eternity of rain, was not graspable. In fact, it was as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Ask an English teacher, they will remind you that a simile is only as effective as it is relatable. So, what is a real-world example of a non-graspable vast empty void? Simple. The sky. The illusion of an infinite sky. We look up, we see blue, we reach for it with our hands, fingers splay, we clutch them into fists, we bring them back to the place before our face, we open them up, and we don't see any blue. The illusion of a blue canopy is a wonderful example of a non-graspable vast empty void. So emptiness is just a metaphor for the non-graspability that is revealed to us through impermanence. It's also revealed to us viscerally every time we relax into our exhalation. We come now to our third phase, or third of 4 phases of mindful crease counting. We're going to keep track of our third of 4 collections. Of our right hand's 12 repetitions, wherein we advance our right thumb, where over the span of 12 inhalations we advance our thumb thusly: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And our left hand's 12 sets, where we multiply the 12 repetitions by 12. 1, 2, 3 sets of 12. 4, 5, 6 sets of 12, 7, 8, 9 sets of 12, 10, 11, 12 sets of 12. Now this is our third of 4 collections, and we keep track of that by resting the great knuckle at the base of our right middle finger upon the tip of our left middle finger in our lap, palms up so that our thumbs can count creases. Don't worry, repetition is the mother of skill. Come to these live streams once every 12 hours, and within a week or two, you could master this system, despite the exaggerations of the elitists. A fringe benefit of playing with our middle knuckle is that our subtle energies are invited to coalesce at the heart region of our chest. Whoops, that's what we call a typographical challenge. Let's go back over here and hit this. So I'd like to explore the second and third benefits of regularly training in mindfulness and meditation. Quick review. The key to mindfulness is to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during each inhalation, thus helping us to notice in a very special way, helping us to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. Mind's antics of perception, mind's antics of seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, smelling, and the like, including emoting, intending, reasoning, recalling, and imagining. This could seem a trifle overwhelming, and that's where meditation comes in, because when we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we wind up releasing what we perceived during our previous inhalation, as if it was fleetingly less solid, less permanent, and less defining, as if it was as non-graspable as a vast empty void, as if it was as non-graspable as the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although is tantalizing to the eye, is non-graspable to the touch. Now, I'd like to explore the second and third benefits of playing with this. Number 2, we wind up calming the amygdala's anxiety and aggression. Number 3, we stimulate the anterior cingulate gyrus's empathy. For the anterior cingulate gyrus functions as the hub of our mirror neurons, the seat of empathy, and consequentially compassion and love. This is exactly why the late Tukul Tundip insisted that the highest love is not the product of contrived focus and analysis, but rather it is the product of the spontaneous and uncontrived product of simply noticing and releasing. What's the big deal of this? "50% of the Buddha's Eightfold Path pertains to loving kindness." The second fold pertains to kind intention. The third fold pertains to kind communication. The fourth fold pertains to kind conduct or non-violence. The fifth fold pertains to kind commerce, forsaking competition and cruelty, and embracing compassion and kindness. In other words, being less of a Chad and less of a Karen. So together, as a team, let us practice right now. we come to our fourth and final phase of mindful crease counting, where we keep track of our fourth collection of our right hand's 12 repetitions and our left hand's 12 sets, where over the span of 12 inhalations we advance our right thumb thusly: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And on our left hand we multiply those 12 sets by those 12 repetitions by 12 sets: 1, 2, 3 sets of 12 repetitions, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 sets of 12 repetitions. To keep track of our fourth collection, we turn to our index knuckle and rest the great knuckle at the base of our right index finger upon the tip of our left index finger in our lap, palms up, so that our thumbs could happily count creases. As such, this whole Megillah gently invites our subtle energies to coalesce at the crown of our head. This is ungainly, but I assure you that, allow me to remind you that repetition is the mother of skill. Come to these live streams once every 12 hours, and within a week or two, you could master this cycle of teachings. I'd like to explore with you the final benefit of mindfulness and meditation after reviewing how to practice them. The key to mindfulness is to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during each inhalation to help us notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. But what do we do with all these things that we notice? We can notice so many things, some external, some internal, some physical, some mental, some pleasurable, some painful, some interesting, some boring, some glorious, and some grotesque. How do we keep from being overwhelmed with this? Through meditation, by silently and mentally relaxing, by silently and mentally reciting the one-syllable verb ease during each exhalation. We release what we perceived during our previous inhalation. We release it wherein they fleetingly feel less defining, less permanent, less solid. They fleetingly feel non-graspable as a vast empty void, as non-graspable as the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although is tantalizing to the eye, is non-graspable to the hand. And so now I'd like to share with you the fourth benefit. The more that we practice, the more we practice mindfulness and meditation, the more we will experience, or we could experience, our choices and utterances and deeds to flow from the effortless effort of love's centered spontaneity. One moment. Let's go over here and let's hit aerial and let's hit outline. And let's hit unbold and replace joy with love. one more change of font to really drive the message home. Okay. So this is an important time to discuss the whole idea of Buddha nature. Buddha nature is nothing mysterious. When the Dzogchen texts mention that we're already enlightened or that we're already Buddha, that's a reference to our Buddha nature. But what's that? Buddha nature is just a charming Iron Age way of describing that which we now know in our digital age through the use of functional magnetic resonance imaging, that each of us is born with a sympathetic nervous system capable of noticing. Each of us is born with a parasympathetic nervous system capable of releasing. And each of us is born with an anterior cingulate gyrus capable of empathizing. That is our Buddha nature. That's why the Buddha taught it could be, his mastery of his path could take as little as 7 days. We already have the equipment we need. No magic is required. Let's practice. Perfectionism is a manifestation of our controlling tendencies. The more we sit in mindfulness and meditation, the more we'll notice not only the presence of imperfection, but that imperfection is in itself perfect, beautiful, useful. Hence the symbol of the Enso circle. May we joyfully surf the perfect imperfections of life. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 2 2/3 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's mid-morning meditation class. And if you are as geeky as me, may the force be with you always.